another faculty review. So when does it go?
Call the meeting to order. We are now going to have the administration of the oath of office for Lorraine James and Amanda Johnson.
We'll do Amanda first. I, Amanda Johnson,
I, Amanda Johnson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
City Commissioner
City Commissioner
in the City of Big Rapids,
in the City of Big Rapids,
County of Mecosta,
County of Mecosta,
the State of Michigan,
and the State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Next.
Lorraine?
Refusing to come forward.
Sit this down, okay? I, Lorraine James,
I, Lorraine James,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully
the
discharge
duties of
the duties of
City Commissioner
City Commissioner
in the City of Big Rapids,
in the City of Big Rapids,
County of Mecosta,
County of Mecosta,
and the State of Michigan,
and State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my
Help me God.
ability.
Should be mentioned Lorraine term limited 2 years ago. So you have to take at least a year off if you want to start another cycle. She took 2 years off and is starting another cycle. So I think that deserves a round of applause. The treasurer here for 25 years. Next, roll call please with a new group.
Ackley,
Here.
Gunther,
Here.
James,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Simmons.
Here.
Any changes to the agenda, Mark?
No changes, Mayor.
I'm going to make a change. We have a lot of guests who want to speak in public comment, and I know the Ferris presentation probably will be more than brief, I hope. So we're gonna wait and let public comment happen now so people can make their public comment and go home, which is what most people prefer. So I'm gonna go to public comment not related to items on the agenda. Anyone have a public comment? Please, tell us who you are and where you live. It's working.
My name is Christopher Gillespie, and I'm a resident of Big Rapids. I'm currently experiencing homelessness. And over the past 7 months, I have been in and out of OBK twice, our brother's keeper. And while I was there, I was seeing things that were and had happened to me myself, like unfair treatment. I seen some other things that we discussed earlier about like some misappropriation of like donations and things on that matter. And then, so me and my fiance, we left OBK voluntarily because we were threatened to be written up for public display of affection for playing a game of Thumb of War. And so while we've seen other people who actually were on camera outside by the picnic table having public display of affection. And so we decided to leave that way. If we needed to use OBK at a later date, we wouldn't be permanently kicked out, like for the winter and stuff. Well, while we was on the street, our belongings, like everywhere that we go, like we were told by Big Rapids PD that we couldn't be on the trail behind OBK. So they told us to move past M20. And so we moved down there, and then we were told by Sheriff Miller that we were on private property there in the median by the Old Mill Pond Road right there. And so we moved from there and we went past North End because we were told that we had to be past North End Park. So went there and we was told by a homeowner, I guess, that it was his private property that we were on there. So he was like, well, I'm calling the police, so y'all have to leave from here. So we hurried up and we gathered our stuff, and we had a shopping cart that was found in the woods that belonged to another homeless person. He had got locked up. So we had used his shopping cart and was holding it when we had our belongings in it. And we had it put, like, after we left from North End, we had came back into town and we put our stuff in the woods by Osceola State Park. And somebody, I guess, pulled it out to the pavilion. Our stuff was turned over to Public Works and it was confiscated. We did actually be able to contact them and spoke with Sergeant David, detective at the Big Rapids Public Works Police. And he told us that, yes, that the Public Works had taken our belongings and we was able to come and have our stuff, but we couldn't take the shopping cart. So we had to leave the shopping cart and take our belongings, but now we have nowhere to carry our stuff, nowhere to store it. So we have been like out here trying to get people to understand that we have suffered at the hands of the people and the shelter and the city. And so we want to ask for, you know, the fundamental things that we need, like showers, a place to store belongings, and somewhere that we can be to where we're not constantly harassed and told that we can't be there. Because we have a right to be able to exist. Just because we don't have a house doesn't mean that our rights and that our freedoms are taken away. And so that's what we're here for, is to ask the community and anybody that can help us to be able to find a place to have showers and things that we need. I'm sorry, I'm probably over 5 minutes, but I...
Just getting there, Chris. Chris met with a group of citizens, about 25 citizens this morning, explained in detail their needs and requests. And I spoke with the city manager and are gonna appoint a committee to meet. Chris and his fiance will be on the committee. We'll try to figure out how to get this done right for the homeless folks in Big Rapids. Just so you know, he already gave us his, but he's doing this officially to get it on the city records, right?
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Thank you, Chris.
No, sir, that's all for me.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Just identify yourself and where you live.
Hello. My name is Brittany Morris, and I am a resident of Big Rapids, and I am currently homeless. I was staying at OBK, and I was complying, their words, with the program, and it doesn't seem to be enough. There's oppression. I actually had to call the police on OBK because they came in and took my belongings without my permission. They've damaged my goods. I have missing items. All this is documented. I've written a grievance, and everything is recorded in the facility. So there's no dispute on that. And Nicole, the director, had called me in because there was a grievance against me by Dora, my caseworker. She was stating that I wasn't complying with the program, which was false. All of my documentation was there. And she proceeded to bear down and scream in my face, and I wasn't having it. I said, "Don't yell at me." And I proceeded to tell her about respect. And then later on, the police were called on them because they came in and they took my belongings without my permission and damaged them. So maybe something can be done about what's going on over there, because it's a facility in Big Rapids that's needed. And I think something needs to be done. It needs to be changed, because it's not right. It's not right how they're treated over there, how we are treated over there. I'm no longer allowed to be over there, so I don't actually have access to a shower. Yeah, something needs to be done.
Thank you. Mark, OBK is not affiliated with the city in any way, shape, or form, and it's a 501c3, or
That's true.
we don't
Correct.
oversee them at all.
No.
Other comments, please?
My name is Ricky Henneman, and I'm a resident of Big Rapids, also a homeless. I have been there at OBK. They need better guidance. They need better staff, people that actually runs it and actually are there to help the community and not there for to better themselves. And also within my homelessness, I have, I guess I would say, I have also been in rehab, and I feel there's not enough Narcotic Anonymous programs up here for people in recovery, and I feel that there should be more assistance with that for people in recovery as well. Because I have to go out of Big Rapids just to find my recovery assistance and stuff like that, and it's kind of hard being homeless, unable to go from city to city to help myself better myself. And other than that, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other public comment unrelated to the agenda? Seeing no further, we'll close the public comment section and go back to, now, if you wanna stay, it's not an insult if you wanna leave if you did your thing. We don't consider it an insult, so if you got other things to do, feel free. Next, we're going to move back to the study session, and who's leading the charge from Fair State?
I am right here.
Please, identify yourself and start up.
Sandra Dudlow.
Come in. Thank you.
Let's make sure that works. Okay. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. All right. So my name is Cassandra Dudlow, and I am one of the seniors at Fair State University within the Architecture and Sustainability program. So today we are going to be talking about North End Riverside Park, our restroom proposals, as well as additions to the park. So currently, North End Riverside Park is located just north of downtown Big Rapids, north of 4th Avenue. It's 140 acres. It has a sand volleyball court, 3 pavilions, a playground, 2 disc golf courses, and also a hiking nature trail. Current site conditions that we have, so we do have a parking lot that's a one-way turnabout with drainage going down towards the center. It has 100 spots and 2 ADA compliant spots as well. We also do have temporary restrooms located just south of the parking lot. And there was 4, and now there is 2 temporary stalls right now. And then that is also the current river access, and I know a lot of us do like tubing in the summer, so just so you're aware of that. So now I'm going to go into fostering nature's perspective, which is my bathroom proposal as well as the addition to the sites, and we will have 13 individuals today talking about each of our proposals. So we were first tasked with making an atmospheric collage, and that's how we want occupants to feel on the site. A lot of mine is centered towards just fostering nature's perspective, what we can learn from nature, how we can interact with nature as well. So just buzzwords that came up as I was thinking about the site was organic, traditional, natural, learning, recreational. And then we were tasked to make a gesture model, which further implemented how we wanted the occupants to feel, and that's a sense of compression and release through the means of nature. And then finally, as I was starting to think about what I wanted the new restroom to look like, these were just some of my restroom concepts that I had going. And then finally, it came to this end product right here. And I will go more into detail about how it looks on the inside, as well as the materials that I plan on using. So the materials right here is perforated glass, which is that top material. It provides a sense of privacy as well as allowing natural lighting in, so less electric lighting has to be used. The next would be concrete, followed by horizontal textured concrete, and that's textured with the wood formwork, so it looks very organic. And then a copper roof, as well as black stainless steel on the inside for the stalls. And this is a floor plan. As you can see, it's going to be located where the temporary restrooms are currently residing at, so just south of the parking lot. And we do have a women's restroom as well as a men's restroom. We have one unisex bathroom as well as a storage closet. In each restroom, we do have an ADA compliant stall as well as regular stalls and urinals for the men's. On the inside, a lot of the same materials are used, and that's where you can see the black stainless steel being used for cabinets as well as the stall. And then these are my elevations and my section model, so that's how it would look from all four sides as well as within the sections. And then now I will go into my park additions. So I do have 6 additions that I would like to do to the park. The first being installing nature trail panels. The next being permanent bag boards, or we call it cornhole in Michigan. I'm from Chicago, so I call it bags. And then an additional sand volleyball court, a kayak boat launch, a dog park, and a secondary parking lot. So the first one with the nature trail panels, I do plan on implementing it north of where the main area on the site is. And I would like it to be a learning aspect, and I do want it to be made of weathering steel, located at the R&R Recycling Center in Reed City, so locally sourced materials. And each one will be talking about like a native plant or animal to Michigan. Next, with the permanent bag boards, all you would have to do is bring your own bag so you don't have to walk with the cornhole boards. And then a second volleyball court, so round robin tournaments can take place during the summer. And then according to the Parks and Recreation 5-year plan on Big Rapids site, you guys wanted to improve access site for tubing and canoeing as well as address riverbank erosion. So with the kayak launch, I decided to do both. So implementing aquatic vegetation that's used for wave dampening and increases soil strength, as well as shock absorbers during heavy rainfall. So that is going to help a lot of the riverbank erosion going on at the site. And these are just some examples of the plants that you would see. They are all native to Michigan. And then this is just an example of how that new kayak launch would look. So instead of walking down the gravel hill, there's now steps leading out, and then there is a ramp that you can put your canoe, your kayak, and bring it into the water. And as you can see right over here, there's the 2 areas that the aquatic vegetation would go at. So you can just canoe right out and take a left going down to the river. Next, having a dog park, a small dog and a big dog side. The Brutus Dog Park is 2 miles away from North End Riverside Park. So those folks that do live north of town, instead of walking 2 miles to get to the dog park, they can go to this one. And then an overflow parking lot near the entrance with 40 additional spaces. I know a lot of times when big events go on at North End Riverside Park, you need additional parking, so that would implement that. So with the new restroom and 6 additions to the park, I do hope that people can engage with the site, learn from nature, and ultimately utilize the park more often. So does anyone have any questions or comments?
Yes, what kind of roof was that?
It was a copper roof.
I know, but it was freeform or whatever. What
Yes,
was that?
yes, just an organic shape, kind of attributing to the shape of a leaf.
And how did they do that?
Just construction wise?
No.
That is a great
It's
question.
really expensive, I don't know.
You could put any roof you wanted on it, but that was my interpretation
It was
of
neat
it.
looking.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Is it an EPE or EPC?
I can, yeah, we'll switch them out.
Okay, guys, let's get somebody presenting. Here we go. This could go a long time.
Mark's just gonna hold it there. Ready? My name's Jack Couture, and I'm here to present my idea for Northland Park titled Northland Hearth. The primary goal I had going into this was to create kind of a landmark for the park, as well as a place for people to meet and to gather. And throughout history, the fire or the hearth has been something that represents that in human culture. Here we see the floor plan sections and elevations. It would feature 7 bathrooms and then 1 room that would be for storage as well as mechanical and electrical, and to enter into that central space there, which would hold your water heaters and all of the facilities needed for the bathroom itself. Moving on, we've got the site plan. I located it right as in that central parking lot area as you come in around. So you really can't miss this building, and let's be honest, who doesn't like not knowing where the bathrooms are? On here you'll see a few little campfires, which is also something that I'd like to add to the park. These are best shown in my renderings here. These I've dubbed bonfires. These are small landmarks that can be located throughout the park. Going back to the slide, we can back to the slide. You can see that I located one right in the entrance there that can be used as like a map for locating the trails and knowing where you're going. One located by the volleyball court, which could be, or not, yes, volleyball court, that could be used for storage, as well as just general landmark guidance. For the bathrooms themselves, I decided to go with single family-size bathrooms to create more intimate spaces and such. Any questions?
So they're located in a
Kind of in a
separate
circular shape
entrances all the
there.
way around?
Yeah, right here in that bottom corner there.
So each one of those separate entrances to a bath.
Correct.
Unisex. or-
Unisex bathrooms,
Yeah.
correct. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Oh, I can probably help with other stuff. Getting a mess of everything today.
That looks expensive.
Hi, my name is Sam Chesner, and this is my proposal for my bathroom for the park and any additions that I have. So this is the precedent research that I did in order to find inspiration for the park. So I really wanted to use natural, but then also, more constructible, easily constructible materials like cement and then wood. And I also took inspiration from the clerestory windows from this building. But before that, I want to go into site plan and where I will be locating any of these new additions. So my proposed restroom is going to be south of the current parking lot and close to the playground there. It's that square there. And then this is any additions that I have for the park. So I'd like to add a bike rack and storage system, a hammock garden that will be located by the river, a path of tree stumps that will be harvested from any trees taken down from the restroom to provide just, some fun additions to the trails. And then I would like to implement a 5 senses interactive exhibit for kids or any other, people that want to enjoy the park and explore different qualities that nature has to offer. And so these are what the 5 senses will look like. There will be nose, mouth, touch, and then there's an ear and what's the other one? I don't know. But, yes, thank you. There's 9. And then there's what the log path would look like, the hammock garden by the river, and the bike rack and storage. So now getting into my restroom, this design will feature a copper butterfly roof, a cement brick exterior with exposed trusses, and then a wall of wooden battens that will kind of oscillate on both sides of the structure. And the idea is that the battens positioned in different, will kind of make a unique sound if someone were to drag a stick along them. And the copper has a living finish, so it would change and evolve as it's used and weathered down, and that is what would happen to the battens as well. And then it also provides privacy for the clerestory windows that serve as the natural light source for the bathrooms. these are the materials, again, that I will be using for the bathrooms. And this is what the floor plan would look like. So you've got your women's, your men's, and then a family room, and then a mechanical room as well. And then these are what the elevations will look like. So the front and the back and the sides pretty much look the same. So I've just got one of each on there. And then your sections. So you can see that there's accessible countertops and benches in the bathrooms. And then this is what the exposed trusses will look like on the inside. And then here's just some interior renderings of inside the bathroom where you can see the trusses and then the wooden battens through the glass. And then that's what it would look like. That's all.
How will the butterfly work in the winter when all the snow melts into the V and then it leaks?
Yes, so it's closed on the front side, but then it's open on the back side, and it has a sloped drainage system, so it all would just drain out into the back onto the grass, or there would be some sort of container that would collect that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys.
I'm Alex Garber. This is my proposal for North End Riverside Park. So we're going to start with the site. I'm proposing a rain garden in the center of the parking lot here since it's already drainage. My restrooms are going to be off this pavilion down here, and then I have a boat launch and an additional volleyball court. So my restroom floor plan, we're going to have a concession facing the pavilion, our utility space in the middle, and then 4 unisex restrooms off the back. Then my elevations, that one's showing our 4 restroom entrances with then the side how the roof forms over that pavilion and covers your concession area. Then I have my materials here. It's going to be CMU block, the existing steel from the columns, concrete floor, and then asphalt singles. Then we have some renderings here. And then here's my boat launch. You put your boat on the railings and then walk it down the stairs into the water to take away the hassle of climbing down that steep gravel slope. And then my additional amenities, I'm going to take out the horseshoes behind the pavilion and put in permanent bags. There's kind of how the rain garden in the center would work, and then my additional sand volleyball. Questions?
How do you decide how many toilets to put in? Every one of you's got a different number of toilets.
So
isn't there a
I went
formula or
off
something?
the size of my pavilion.
What's that?
I went off the size of the existing pavilion, so it'd be the same width, and then I fit 4 in there comfortably in the back.
So how do you make the decision how many toilets to have at the
I
park?
made the executive decision.
Because that's what's going to happen. We're going to wonder how many toilets to put in. Good, thank you. I like the permanent bean bags.
Yeah. That got me sold right off the bat.
My name is Connor Kilborn, and this is my proposal for the North End Riverside Park bathrooms. And to start out, this is my site plan, and the bathroom will be located right up here. And then you can see the chimney swifts on the trail. I'll get into that. That's an addition I'm doing. So to start out, I did some research on a park in Canada. And I really like the idea of drawing you through the building and proposing a nice view towards the river. And then here's a render, just kind of an aerial shot of what it'd look like sitting next to the river. Here is a front render of what it would look like, what I talked about, looking through towards the river and seeing the other side, and it kind of draws you through the building. And then here's a father and his daughter. And then here's the overall floor plan of it. I used dark oak wood board and batten material for the exterior concrete. In the bathrooms, I did gypsum and some dark wood floor tiling. And I also have the sign over here that's going to be on the addition. Here's some elevations to show a sense of scale with some people in it and kind of what they look like. Here is the interior of the women's restroom, and there's the floor tile and the gypsum. Kind of wanted to go for a nice clean look in the bathroom. And here is my addition to the park, the chimney swift house, because they are currently declining in population. And so back on the site plan, that's where all the chimney swifts were. That's where all those are going to be. And then here's a winter render of what it would look like from the northwest. Any questions?
So the city hall has chimney swifts. You know that?
Yeah.
Hundreds.
I believe that was tongue in cheek, Mayor.
I've got a quick question. So you show winter scene, so this building would be used all 4 seasons year round?
Yeah.
So would it be heated in the winter time?
Yeah, that's the plan.
You don't think it detracts from the view of the river?
That's it. I mean, you could kind of argue that, but that was kind of what I went for with my precedent research, is to make people use the bathroom more, kind of draw you through the structure. So
Okay,
you can see it through the view right there. But
Very good.
How do you all do the renderings? So the renderings, you all have software that you're able to just kind of a blank slate and then create multiple different software?
So you had 7 toilets.
yeah.
Some of the festivals
had a lot of people.
Yes.
Did everybody here have the same budget?
We had no budget.
There was no budget.
What I wanted.
Thank you, very good. Next, here we go. These are very.
Okay, my name's Cynthia. That's my bathroom proposal. So I wanted to focus on 3 different concepts for my bathroom. The connection between nature, the use of light and shadow, and private and public spaces in the community. So I wanted to show that through, this is my site plan. I added the bathroom in the south area where the park is, and I also added benches throughout the trails, so you can see that so this is my rendering, how the bathroom would look. I wanted to use wood, sort of to show the use of timber that's used in like Big Rapids, also just to connect with nature and the interior of the space. So this is my floor plan. I used that curving shape to draw people within like the interior of the spaces through both sides, and as well as allowing light to go into the space. Also, I added 2 different bathrooms, like a men's and women's bathroom, and then there would be a communal sink area, and this is just an elevation of how you would enter into the space. And this would be like the north elevation, and on both sides you can see where there would be 2 entrances on either side. Then for my sections, you can see how the roof is allowing more sunlight to enter into the spaces. And this would be where the communal sinks are located. And these are just some like of my renderings of how the light would enter into the space, as well as in the bathrooms, how the light would enter. And then another addition that I planned on having is benches around the park, just to further have that wood pattern and yeah, connection between the bathroom and the benches. And yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jesus Backport, and this is the butterfly effect proposal. Okay, so just to start off, I wanted to talk about my questionnaire research. I just want to showcase this because it, like, this is a real project, so that you can know, like, what, if you were to go with my design, that you'll know what could possibly be, you know, in real life. So you have this corten steel, which is the material that I chose to use for the exterior of my building, and you'll see that a little bit later. This is just a concept that I made with the materials found at the park. And then this is that corten steel. It's strong, it's durable, it requires minimal maintenance, it's very cost effective, and it has an aesthetically pleasing finish. And so I wanted to go with architecture as sculpture, so you have like this like ever evolving building. You're not just stuck with just one look. So as you know, time goes by, you have this 1 month, 2 month, 6 month, and then 40 months, because that's how long that this material will be lasting for. And then for my site plan, or my master plan of the entire park, I have this proposed parking lot that's further down for the disc golf. I know that you guys had mentioned that there's no parking over there in that area, so, and you guys get like a lot of attraction for the disc golfing and everything like that. So I wanted to add another little bathroom over there. It's just a single-use bathroom. It has a little janitor's closet for cleaning, and as I had mentioned, this corten steel is very it requires minimal maintenance in the interior. Also, as you can see from the proposed restroom, it has that same look on the inside of the smaller bathroom. So it's just easier to just like spray down. I remember I mentioned, you had said that, Mark, that you wanted something you can just spray down. It's easy to clean. And then that's my proposal right there, the restroom. I wanted to go with, like I said, that architecture of sculpture, and you'll see like a better rendering of it later down. And this is my floor plan. So I start off like a circle. It's split down the middle, so it's just like pulled apart a little bit. You have the women's and then the men's restroom. And to answer your question of how many stalls, I remember when we were talking to you guys at the beginning of the school year, you guys had mentioned that you wanted about like 6 stalls. That's the reason why we have 6 stalls. And then in both restrooms, there's also the a baby changing station. So for mothers, fathers, everybody has a use for it. And then you have that janitor's closet. It's big enough for utilities and cleaning supplies and everything for a janitor. And then I also want to incorporate like nature in my project, so that's why you have this little see what's the laser? This little circle right here. You have a tree sprouted out through the top, and you'll see that in a rendering in a little bit. But yeah, I wanted to incorporate nature into my project, and then also with the look of going with that corten steel look, I kind of wanted to reference back to the Big Rapids logo, and it has like that industry look with the corten steel. And then you have my section cut right here. The 2 restrooms are basically mirrored, so you get kind of that same look. There's some lighting, some windows. They're about a foot big. It allows for some natural lighting during the daytime. And then you can see
where I was talking about where that tree is poking through, you have another skylight up in the janitor's and utility closet, just to have like some more natural lighting, so it reduces the cost of electricity. And then here's a west and south elevation. And then here's just the final rendering, and it has like that more aged look to it, and that's that's more down the line of like 5 years, 8 years, so that you have like a darker look. You don't have that bright orange like right here. Yeah, that's it. Any questions? Okay, sweet. Oh, yeah.
Several of you mentioned the use of electricity. Has anybody incorporated any solar electricity so there would actually be no cost except for the initial cost of the solar piece?
I didn't include that into this project, but I don't know if any of my classmates have.
Some of our students have incorporated solar panels in their project to actually power their buildings in the like winter months or provide heating for the building.
Thank you.
So my overall concept is called shipping out house. So my overall thing is to aim to provide a bathroom to provide a solution to the problem, but doing it so in a way that promotes recyclability, energy proficiency, and as well as sustainability. So as for my site plan, the reason why I chose this location, I know previously someone said that it could obstruct the view, but I think of it as a way of leading you towards the water, and as towards the bottom section of this, I kind of created a multi-purpose use to send you down to the swimming area, whether you want to fish, whether you want to sit by the water, which I'll show better renderings later on. As for my elevations, for my front, side, and rear elevations, the front elevations carry a big F and M to kind of signalize the female and male restrooms. However, in the contents of the bathroom, there is also a utility closet and an all-gender restroom. And then for the female side, there is going to be 3 regular stalls and an ADA compliant stall, and then as well as the utility closet, which you can kind of see right here. And then for the male side, there is the all-gender restroom, and then as well as 2 stalls and 3 urinals. So the main contents of this bathroom, for the recyclability, the sustainability aspect, is I'm going to use shipping containers as the main structural system. So shipping containers are something that is very cost efficient that you can use for your constructional elements. A lot of times you can get them recycled. So instead of getting a brand new one, they're the same shipping containers that you get on your like ship overseas when you're shipping stuff. So with that, there is a lot of different elements on thinking of insulation, and for that, to kind of keep the bathrooms warm, since insulation for a normal shipping container just kind of contradicts to just a single metal panel. So beside the corrugated metal panel, there's going to be insulation, an airtight barrier, and then as well as, of course, the drywall within. And then as for the systems, so this, I really want to aim to make it energy proficiency. So right down here, I know some of you towards the camera can't see it, but I do have a solar panel system to kind of supply the energy for the restroom. And then as well as the heating and cooling system is an energy proficient heating and cooling system and air pump. So it takes heat from the ground. It can use in very cold climates as well as really warm climates. And then with its presenting flattish style roof, snow buildup could be a problem. So I prevented with an HDD icing cable to kind of heat up this roof and kind of keep snow from building up. And then finally, as for drainage, I have these square length rain chains. They're a good attribute. They kind of are these bright yellows to emphasize the different aspects of Big Rapids. So with that yellow color emphasizes the educational aspect. And then with the green of the front that you see here, the big emphasis right here, and these bright greens are going to emphasize the recreational aspect. And then later on, I do have an emphasis for the industrial aspect of that as well. So here is my exterior rendering. So you can kind of see it guides you into the water. This kind of bathroom acts as a path in and of itself, as well as a bathroom. And then for my rear rendering, the rendering towards the water, here you can see that multi-purpose leading you down to the water. So it uses a ramp system to kind of bring you down to the water. So if you are have mobility impairments or just have impairments of getting down a hill or a slope, you can go down to the water, fish, you can go down there and hang out, read a book, easy access to get in the water if you wanted to. So it kind of just adds that multi-purpose aspect of the bathroom. And then here is another rear rendering to kind of give you a perspective of where it's located. So you can kind of see the south pavilion as well as the circular parking lot behind it. And then finally, for my interior rendering, I choose to use kind of like basic materials since the simplistics of the bathroom is pretty, the overall designs of the bathroom is very simple. So I wanted to keep that clean look and kind of promote that sustainability by using sustainable products. So here is specifically the men's restroom. As you can see, you walk in, there still is that privacy segment, so you can't directly kind of see in. You have to go around that barrier, and then the urinals and the sinks. But other than that, that is my bathroom proposal. Do you have any questions or comments? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Austin Andrews, and here is my proposal for the restroom for North End Riverside Park. I titled it In Search of Solace. Starting out, just some inspiration images, some images I found online while looking for inspiration to kind of guide my way through this project. I'm going to go ahead and just take you through the space rather than just, show you a bunch of floor plans and everything right away. I'd rather just take you through the space so you can see what it looked like. Some daytime renderings just showing the communal space, light in the area, and just how others can interact with the environment as a whole. Right here we have the outside looking in. If you notice, we have a water caustic overlay on the glass, kind of offering a little bit of privacy and mimicking that of the Muskegon River. We have these wooden ribs on the outside, just offering a little bit more privacy, a little bit of visual interest to both occupants on the inside and the exterior, as well as foliage on the outside to further encompass the overall structure so no one can really get too close and look in and peer in. Here's just entry to the restrooms here. Some nice plants and everything just kind of make the occupants feel calm. Here's just an exterior render. As you can see here, it's very open. I intentionally did design this to be a Three Seasons bedroom, not bedroom, but restroom. Three Seasons, just for the influx of occupants and recreational activities throughout the summertime. I didn't see much demand in the winter. That also eliminates heating costs during the winter. So you can keep it nice and open. We have a thin concrete roof mimicking the shape of the waves throughout the Muskegon River. And right here is my site plan and master plan for the park. So right here is where the restroom is located. Right there's the right here is the restroom. That's the parking lot, and I propose to add a youth community garden here. I feel like that's something that Big Rapids would benefit from. It's just kind of a little bit more youth engagement other than just young college students. Light Play Sculpture Park, as my restroom does play on light a lot through those water caustic effects and the wooden ribs on the outside. And as well as just a community art park as well. Just kind of driving a little bit more character into the city as a whole, looking at like Grand Rapids with the art prize and everything. I feel like it's a good thing to get a little bit more community engagement. And then just some floor plans here. You can just see as simple as 2 restrooms. I don't expect too much volume in this, in and out. You won't be in space for too long. We have designated maintenance area here, and then right here is just the roof line around it, good overhangs. And then just some elevations here, figures for scale, as well as west elevation showing more of that roof line for you. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Lee, and this is my proposal. So for context, I wanted to have something that had a nice central location to the different trails, maybe the playground, the pavilions. So, and as well, I wanted to embrace permanence and sustainability. So this would be where it's located in terms of site on site. And that would just be circulation. Different areas someone may be coming to or coming from. And this is the floor plans and the top view of it. So, I don't know which one is the laser. So that is actually the water tank area, which I'm gonna get more into, and mechanical would be on the outside. Here's the elevations. Here's just a nice 3D view so you can kind of see what it looks like. Another, so it would have a wood facade, but it would actually be CMU. That would be the main structure. Another 3D. And this is it in context. So I feel like this rendering really shows where it's a nice central location. It's coming in from this path, the river, and also the parking lot. I feel like it doesn't necessarily take away from the river view. Coming in from both sides, you can get a glimpse of the river, especially that left side, you can really get appreciation for it. Not to mention, this area, I made it a nice pavilion in front of the bathroom because I wanted if a mom or dad was sending their little one in, they could just stand under the pavilion, maybe even have some chairs right there, especially if it's raining. And this would be an interior, and then another interior. So now to the water thing I was talking about. I actually implemented a system where they collect the rainwater and they recycle it for gray water use, aka the toilet use. I wanted to do this because I feel like I have to implement sustainability in some form or fashion. Plus, I feel like why waste the rainwater we get? And that's the connection. This is just a sectional. And then I have a very simple proposition, just a little drinking fountain. I feel like a bathroom and the drinking fountain together can be the difference between 1 hour at the park where we just walk and then we kind of go home. Or it's like, cause my girl might have to pee. So, she might not want to use the porta potties and she might want to drink something and she might not want to go to the gas station and come back. So I kind of just want to have both of those right there. Change it from 1 hour, 4 hours. I feel like this project, it was aimed to be rooted in the feeling of Mecosta County, Big Rapids, and then the north end, Riverside Park as a whole. And that's my baby right there. And Project Delta to change.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna walk you guys. Oh, hi, my name is Lexi. I'm gonna walk you guys a little bit more through my board. I'm pretty to look of it. So here you can see I'm gonna start you off at the top of the site plan. My bathroom will actually be located in the front, kind of where you saw a couple of others. So right when you come around that circle, you'll see it kind of. One of my main goals with my concepts would be that my park, I didn't want it to be seen. I didn't want it to be disruptive to the park. So from looking at the parking lot to the river, you won't really see it. As you can see from my rendering here, this will be kind of what it looks like. It's a green roof. So you'll look and you'll still see the river, you'll still have a little glass and you'll be able to walk up and have a good view of the river. You won't really see it. When you walk around down to the other side, you can see the rendering down here maybe. Otherwise it's down here, you might be able to see it better. You'll see the addition, and that's where the bathrooms are. So the floor plan is here. You'll be able to come around and use these stairs for not only steps to get down, but also you can use it as a place to sit and read or a place to gather as a family. There's also a ramp here, so it's accessible to if you are on crutches, a wheelchair. I've got a women's and men's bathroom, as well as an ADA accessible unisex bathroom, as well as a maintenance closet. So you can see here in some of my elevations how the land would kind of follow down as that ridge kind of comes down to the river, so it is flush. So you can kind of see that here as well as some of my sections. With my additions to the park, I wanted to incorporate a mini golf course. I think it would be a super fun way to bring people to the park. As college kids, there's not much to do up here besides drink and roll. So I wanted to implement something fun outside. So I think mini golf is a really fun way that we can come to in the outdoors. And then I also wanted to, one of the main goals was to bring people to the park in the wintertime. So one thing that I also wanted to incorporate was, you guys may have seen them, the igloos, where you can come and you can study, but also be around in nature, stay warm, but you can use those as just a place to gather. So I think it's a really good way to bring people to the park in the winter, but also bring people, it's also not just from Big Rapids, people from all over, get off the highway, place to stop, eat lunch. And then lastly, you can see here, my last addition is a hammocking spot. Sometimes when you go hammocking with friends, stuff like that, you can't find trees all close enough together to hook up. And so I think that would also be a really good space to hammock. Right there. That's it.
Hi, my name is Haisa Schmidt-Reinert, and this is my proposal. So for my site additions, I would also like to propose a second volleyball court. And also, I've noticed during my time living in Big Rapids that people really like bonfires, especially around the spring and fall time. And I thought it would be a good addition to have a bonfire pit by the river. It's something that is not going to block the view, and people can appreciate time during the a little bit colder months of the year. I would also like to propose lighting for the river walk. I personally love going on walks by the river walk, and around this time of the year when the days get shorter, it's just harder to go after school or after work and so on when it's super dark. And so having some lighting around the river walk would be really helpful for that. Also, while driving into the park, I found it kind of hard to locate the entrance, and so I would like to propose a welcome sign to the entrance of the park. It can say welcome for when people are coming in, and thank you for visiting on the way out, which I think would be helpful also so people don't drive into that private property that continues along the road. And also for the trails that are just south of the park, I would like to propose creating slopes in those trails so during the winter people can still go out to the park and enjoy their time sledding or snow tubing as well, which would also relate to the tubing that people do during the summer and can tube during the winter as well. For my restroom facilities, you can see the little red square there is the location of my restroom. It's currently where the temporary restrooms are. Which I thought was a good location. It is close to the playground, which I think would just be good to stay there. So this is a closer-up look to my welcome sign to the entrance. And then this is my floor plan for my restroom design. One thing that was talked about in our meeting with the city officials before in our class was that there was a water work that would have to be done to be able to put the restrooms in the park. And so taking that into consideration, I wanted to create a design that would be durable, easy to maintain, still aesthetically pleasing, while also being sustainable and cost effective. And so I came up with this design. I have the women's room and the men's room with 3 stalls for the women's and 2 stalls and 1 urinal for the men's, as well as an accessible genderless room for families as well, and so on. You can see I have windows up there that allow for natural lighting. There's no artificial lighting included in the pictures whatsoever, and the windows are up high. So they allow the natural light in while still making sure there's privacy for the people using the facilities. And I also have in the accessible room, there is a skylight on top, so the natural lighting is still coming in, even though it's in the middle there. And then here's some exterior renderings. I also have a sign there that is just saying the name of the park and the restrooms and pointing to where the men's and women's rooms are. And then you can see on this side right here, I have also added solar panels. So when the natural lighting isn't coming in during the night or the shorter days in the winter, they can use the energy from the solar panels to light up the restrooms. And with the sloped roof, I also created a water collection system from the rainwater that can be collected, used for flushing and so on, for sustainability. And then these are the materials that I'm going to be using. The roofing would be metal with CMU walls and the wood paneling that you saw in the renderings right here, as well as ceramic tiles for the interiors and concrete flooring. And these are some sections and the elevations, and you can see in the section up there how the skylight would be in the genderless family room as well. That's it, thank you.
They're not the same scene. Now you want to go home, so I'll try to speed run this on the last one. So my name's Nick Kruger, and I'm sure you're familiar with by now. This is my proposed master plan for North End Riverside Park. Use this button. So really, one of the main the main organizational concept in regards to the site plan is continuing to use the hub and spoke model that the existing park uses. So for instance, the main hub being, of course, like the main parking lot that people almost exclusively use to get to the site, and then using that as like a launch point to be able to branch out further into like the undeveloped parts of the park, to the secondary hub here, and then even what could possibly consider a tertiary hub there where it meets the park, or where it meets where the river walk terminates. And so just a real quick run through everything brought up on the map, and also the improvements to the park. So one of the key things aside from the restroom is the replacement of the existing area observation deck with a observation tower that's brought up to about 30 feet above like the parking grade. I actually have a trilogy of restrooms at the 3 different hubs that I mentioned of scaled design. And then there's other situations such as expanded parking, not only finishing out the parking circle, but then also adding this overflow parking made out of pervious paving, so that way it's still rigid to park on, but it doesn't impact the drainage of the site too much. Then a lot of expanding outdoor recreation opportunities. So for instance, adding fold-up fold-up cornhole things into the existing horseshoes. That way both are maintained. including a sledding hill along the slope here, basketball court and shuffleboard court, because I know from experience the snowbirds really love shuffleboard from Florida. So including that at this secondary hub here. And you'll see this green indicates a restored pollinator habitat, largely butterflies, a lot of milkweed gardens there, retaining the buzzword being like native biodiversity, because I know that's a hot button issue. And then additionally, if you'll see here in the next slide, additionally for the tower, going under the tower, there is a accessible portage ramp to get small craft like kayaks and canoes from the parking lot directly into the water. So that kind of completes the cycle, because a lot of times when even at Hemlock Park, you have the kit accessible boat launch, but then it's rather difficult for somebody who's not fully able-bodied to be able to locate fully move the boat to the launch. So then again, going over the main concept, it's really driven by the river, and that is like the main driver behind the concept. So really speeding through this, precedents and research, you'll notice some similarities with a case study I did with Mill Race Park in Columbus, Indiana, by Polshek. Includes a much larger version of a similar observation tower, and then also a restroom that utilizes glass masonry, as we'll see in a minute. Using another gesture model using found materials at the park, you'll see that's where the form of the tower comes from. Extant motion audiovisual collage, really bringing home the hub and spoke model that the existing park has. And then also in regards to the light post that can be seen in the bathroom model, I wanted to do some research as to what angle of reflection, like if you have uplighting, would generate the most usable light without causing too much light pollution into the night sky. Both for stargazing purposes, but also largely for migratory birds. I know that's a huge issue. So moving on to the actual improvements of the park, I'll start with the observation tower, because it's kind of like a secondary thing. So really what it does is it takes the position of the existing, admittedly decaying at-grade observation deck, and then elevates it, as you can see on the model there. It really elevates it by about 30 feet above, and that really kind of gives like a more grandiose view, I think, that the river's deserving of. And you can kind of see here where the materiality comes into play, utilizing this huge, as I call it, the vine, like structural element. That's concrete and stuff, because it's very rigid, whereas the timber that constitutes the staircase and the deck, that's very natural. And there's even like a growing grid on the back to bring in more of that natural world. And I was talking about accessibility. You can kind of see how the ramp that runs right up to the river goes under the tower. And the tower itself is accessible, obviously. And then one more thing, talking more about pollinator habitats, because I remember both the chimney swifts that Connor mentioned and the bats too were also something that the city would be interested in. So I imagined it would be fairly easy to in the understructure of the deck be able to directly integrate the natural world into that. So then moving in, like I said, in true student spec project fashion, very optimistic. It's a scalable set of 3 restrooms. The primary one, obviously, at that main core of the park, visible in that slice of the site model there. Secondary one at the new secondary hub that would include the basketball court, shuffleboard, the existing pollinators. As of now, that area is about that halfway point. It's at the south end of the park between the main hub and Sweet Hill. And then this tertiary one here, which is just a single restroom unit at the very north end of the park where the Riverwalk terminates. And then also you can see an interior restroom there. And I really just want to call attention to kind of the architectural language going on here real quick. I can see it kind of accepts the role as a restroom and it uses it architecturally. The vent stacks there become almost like organ pipes or smokestacks, giving it almost like an industrial feel, but musical at the same time. The large timber beam there is kind of meant to recall the logging history of the area. I describe it as like a forgotten, those logs that have been sitting in the river for centuries, forgotten by the loggers that were floated them down. And there's even prows here that provide a navigational aspect, like they're self-illuminated. So then moving in, going through the restroom floor plans, as you saw in the tower is very cubic, and with these, everything is organized on a base 8 by 8 by 8 foot grid, which gives a sense of architectural harmony to all the buildings. And then also the interior surfaces. You saw they were kind of finished with linoleum and stuff, and even architecturally, they're flush with each other. What I really wanted to do was make it very easy to clean, because I know outdoor restrooms don't have the best reputation, so making it very easy, very simple to clean, like no rough surfaces on the inside. That would make it very simple. And then real quick, you'll see when I talk about materiality in the very next slide, but so all the dimensions here are all based on standard masonry units, so if instead of site cast concrete, masonry would be needed as a construction material, it can be easily converted into that. So then now actually talking about the materiality here, so the main thing, one of the main things I wanted this bathrooms to be able to do is to serve as a like a storm shelter in case of inclement weather, because there's no safe area within the park currently. So the structural, it's structurally site cast concrete, large aggregates, because that's it utilizes less cement. So not only does it provide a more rugged feel with the visible aggregates, but it's also more environmentally friendly too. So utilizing that, and then one of the key things I did was a lot of the walls. There's punched fenestrations of glass masonry, and so that was the case study from Columbus. There's Polshek's restroom there is very. The way they utilize glass masonry, even more liberal fashion than this, it really plays on like how that as a material is, it's both opaque and transparent at the same time. So you get a lot of the natural lighting, but it's still entirely private. And I did skip over that. Speaking of privacy, that's the main reason I went with the single unit restrooms, is because I felt that enhances a sense of privacy in the public sphere, especially if it's being utilized a lot and it's a busy day outside. I think that concludes it. Real quick.
Water drain pipes with 3 separate bathrooms.
Well, yeah, there's a
lot of sewer pipes going on.
Well, that's the thing too, is I forgot to mention, is that for the third bathroom, especially because that's at such a remote location, the idea being that it's very optimistic here because it's a spec project, but the idea that one could easily be like reimagined as a outhouse type building that doesn't require any hookups.
Thank you.
Anybody gonna look at the model up close?
Others? Are there more?
I had the two there that I was passing along.
I think they're right here. I think that's that was the last presentation, correct?
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing them.
Yes, thank you.
I had a request from a commissioner to take a 5-minute break. We're adjourned for 5 minutes. Feel free, students, if you need to go, go.
I have a 45. Stretch that back. I'm not used to all this. I have to reposition myself. He must.
Yeah, there's always little takeaways.
Like it.
Like this. We could so do that. I never even thought of it.
Foldable cornhole, so it utilized the portion and gave them
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I saw that too.
We got to get a plate.
I really like the observation deck.
Yeah. I think I was time. There's a place, little town. If you ever go, you'd like to stop. It's called Perry Sound, Ontario. Right on the Georgian Bay. Beautiful, beautiful setting. And they have a fire tower. We climb it every year. It's like, I don't know, 15 stories maybe. And you get just a commanding view of the town, bay.
Is that up in the city?
Perry Sound, Ontario.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other places. Yeah. That's one we visit.
Yeah.
Now, Mayor, they have been preparing all semester.
We could do it the next,
I've been a teacher.
At Ferris, we call it other duties, not assigned, Mayor.
Definitely know.
And I believe it's our pleasure to serve the public.
We do it as much for them as
Jonathan just said it's do your duty.
I always get takeaways.
That's
Unintended.
Thank you very much. Incorporated and it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah. How you doing?
It's not back yet.
I know you wanna go home.
He ain't my age, he should do it.
I know, just settle down.
Well, you know, what you.
We're not leaving these?
What, Lorraine?
Absolutely, let's do it.
I did not know about this. You blame the city manager, he proposes the
Okay, I'm telling you,
agenda.
because I'd have to yell at him for him to hear me. So I'm telling you, you can relate it to
idea.
him.
Sit down, I'm calling the meeting back to order. We're back to order.
I like it. Yeah, nice
No
talk.
more public comment, please. Not even you, Rosemary. Keep still back there.
He's grumpy, just go with it.
It's a smidge bit long, Mark.
A little bit too long, but I wanna make, I wanna make.
Oh, God, raise your hand, I'll call on you.
No, okay, so when I said we needed restrooms at North and Riverside Park,
Yes.
I was thinking more of the basic style restroom.
Oh, I know.
Where'd these some?
These were like, wow.
$1 million? They're over that.
Yeah, you know, it's too bad they don't have to price them out in their process of doing their. Right.
We don't even have a sewer line there.
I know.
How do you know?
Oh my God.
Come on now.
Okay, let's
We
get
gotta
going.
get through this before Monday Night Football.
Oh, I knew there had to be a reason. There you go.
Not even
Where's the chief? Next on the agenda is a resolution approving body cams and in-car cameras. Is there a motion for the resolution?
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. Questions, comments? We memorized the 217-page report that company gave us. Questions?
Light reading.
$60,000 a year, is that what it is? Cheap. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
There's no funding source on this, but Mark mentioned that it had been provided in whatever, I think, is supposed to be in the.
Thank you for bringing that up. Commissioner James had emailed over the weekend, and I believe Carla has identified that funding source. I don't know that we have a replacement resolution. But maybe Carla, if you wanted to talk about that for a second?
They explained it to me that on this particular thing, you're just passing it to do it. They have to come back, right, they have to come back with a resolution when they actually purchase. So that's why this resolution doesn't have the number. So we're good.
Everyone on the commission have? Do we need new body cams, everyone? We're all convinced?
Yes.
Guess that's it.
Thank you.
Comments back there? Anything? You want new body cam?
I do, yes.
Hearing no further discussion, could we have a roll, or a vote, please?
Kathleen?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Johnson? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. It's done, now you may go home, chief. Next is a resolution awarding a bid for a Ford Transit cargo van. Who's talking about that, Heather?
I'm happy to talk about it, Mayor. So we have an IPP program, Industrial Pre-Treatment Prevention, Pollution Prevention. Industrial Pollution Prevention is what it stands for. It's a requirement of the state. It's part of our wastewater treatment. And there's employees at the plant who have to take samplers out throughout the collection system and bring back those samples, identify the high toxic materials that may be in them. Toxic's not the right word, but there are chemicals and materials that are in the wastewater that require a lot of treatment. And so then whoever emits those has to pay a higher share than the residential equivalent is how that works. So there's a need to transport materials throughout the community. We've been doing it out of this truck that's 26 years old, and we're looking to replace it with a van that fit those needs of the IPP folks at the wastewater plant and be more reliable for their use. So that's what the objective is. And we're having a hard time buying vehicles. And I mean, that's a bigger picture topic than this exactly. But the police cars, we've budgeted for a couple of years now to buy new police cars. And we don't get any bidders when we go out to bid for vehicles anymore. And so we're looking at new ways to do those types of purchases, and that's brought us to these what you see before you tonight. But the IPP van, I won't keep going, Mayor. I know you're ready to go. The IPP van is needed, and we are just definitely in a position where we have to replace the truck that they've been using. So that's all I have.
Heather, when will this one become available?
When will this vehicle be available?
Is it quicker than the police cars?
It will be quicker, but it's not gonna be a year like we have been experiencing. A bid for the last Interceptor last year, the commission approved it, and we still don't have that vehicle.
Is there a motion for the resolution to buy a new Ford Transit van to haul all the sewer samples over to the city lab?
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. Any further questions?
James?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Ackley?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes. Next is a resolution amending the special event policy. As you know, it was long ago, we approved the special event policy, not that long ago, and they want to change 2 portions. Brad or Mark?
2 portions, one of which we had something in there where 6 months, you couldn't reserve a park or facility any more than 6 months ahead of time. That created problems for people who were trying to do planning for things next summer and so on. So we wanted to make that a year. And then we had a fee of $25, and we found that a lot of times that fee, we're just sort of waiving it because these are community folks doing community events that we want to see happen, and it seemed awkward to be charging. Now, there are times that you have to pay if there's extra porta-johns or that kind of thing, but this should actually just process the paperwork and process the permit seemed excessive. So those are the 2 changes we're recommending.
There's a motion for that resolution changing the special event policy.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. Further questions or discussions, anyone?
Ooh, I guess my ring had a question. 2 things. It's so helpful when we get a version of the documents that's marked up and read. I saw the description of it, but I didn't see in the packet that I'm not asking for it right now. I'm just saying it's very helpful to see that. And then I did notice that the links at the end didn't seem to be active. Took me to a page that didn't work. Not anything you have to change, just I was reviewing it, and those are my comments.
We'll check on both those, thank you.
Further discussion?
Johnson?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Ackley?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Next are 2 ordinances that relate to one of my favorite topics, which is 5G. And we don't have any ordinances related to 5G, so Brad had to reinvent or invent the wheel.
To an extent, yes. So the way this came about, Mayor and Commissioners, is that we've had several applications into the city from Verizon this year for a small cell technology. So That's the 6x6 cubic feet boxes that go up on usually existing poles around the city. And they support 5G, as the mayor said, coverage. So it's kind of a new thing. It's gonna be increasing. We anticipate we're gonna get more applications in the coming months and years. And the city didn't have any regulation regulating that. We have the Metro Act ordinance, which covers telecommunications facilities underground, the cables, but nothing to regulate small cell and the towers. Now, the issue with that is that there's both federal and state legislation that largely preempt local government control and being able to regulate and cite these things. In the position paper, I cited the two main ones. There's the Federal Telecommunications Act, which, Mayor, you'll be interested. That's the one that says you can't regulate based on the effects of the emissions of the radiation and whatnot. You can't use that as a basis to deny an application. And then there's the State Act, 385 of 2018, or 365. Yeah, of 2018. That's the one, the state legislation piece that basically says you can't prohibit small cell technology being installed or co-located in the city. You can't limit zoning districts, so it's permitted by right in every zoning district, subject to certain things. So like the tower, the poles can't be more than 40 feet, otherwise they fall outside the jurisdiction of the act. And then there's some things that they left for municipalities to be able to regulate. So you can regulate things like you can require a bond to repair the right-of-way if they cause any damage. You can require permits, which is what one of these ordinances does, and then have an application process whereby they would go through and get a permit, so you at least have a site drawing of where it is, you know what they're installing, and then you can put a bond and protect the right-of-way in that way. If there are situations where they want to install a new utility pole that's more than 40 feet tall, that would fall outside the jurisdiction of the statute, and then that would be where the zoning ordinance, which is included in your packet, comes in to allow for zoning review and a special land use procedure, and then that would go to the planning commission before it comes for approval. So the two ordinances are police power ordinance. The police power ordinance does the scheme of the regulatory, the application process, the permitting process, and then the different things that you can control are covered in that. And then the zoning ordinance is kind of a catch-all for those things that are exempt from the state act that would require special land use approval, and that would go to that process through the planning commission. The planning commission already looked at the zoning ordinance amendment on the 18th and approved it, recommended approval to you. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the ordinance in general.
So this box is safe. How, is it off the ground enough that kids can't get into it, or is it on the ground, or is it how many feet up? And
so it has to be, the statute regulates, it has to be so many feet off the ground. I think it's 18 feet. Okay. It has to be outside of, creating an impediment to traffic. If it does any of those things, then that's a grounds for the city to deny the application. So we would get an application and review it, and if it's determined that it's blocking traffic or impeding safety, then we would have grounds to deny it on that basis. But they're required to be a certain footage.
who's going to, are they talking about putting 40 of them in the city of Big Rapids, or 2?
Right now, it's 3 potentially, well, no, 3. It's 3 that have come in. One came in from consumers to do a different piece of the same pole. So 4 applications for 3 different sites. When I talked with the Verizon representatives last month, they indicated that that was all they were looking at for the next year and a half. But that's, I don't know if we trust what they said. Michelle and I have had conversations, and we don't know. I mean, that's what they've requested at this point, and they've said they're not looking for the next year anyway to put more, but AT&T could come in or others and request something as well.
So they're all at Ferris campus, those 3?
No, 2 of them are on Ferris campus. One's right by the water tower on South State Street, and one is
across from the stadium, like where Stadium Drive intersects with South Street.
Yep. And then the third is on Perry, right as you kind of come off of where it turns into State Street. It's right there. Right by, yeah. Yep.
So they're gonna provide this great 5G mainly for the Ferris population. Is that the idea?
That's what it appears to be.
That's what it appears to be. Anybody know a lot about 5G? Who has a comment? I have no clue.
It really answers.
Right.
Mayor, I do have a question.
Please.
Is there a limit on the number of applications the city?
No, there's no limit. And in fact, there's something in the statute which made it into the ordinance that they can request a kind of consolidated, if they want to do 20 at a time, they can do it in one application. So if they wanted to put 20 boxes on 20 different utility poles, they could do that in one application as opposed to 20 applications.
So there any reason that the city commission should be looking at this in a negative fashion?
I mean, the statute's not great. I mean, ideally, you could regulate it a lot more and say you can't have it in residential zones, things like that, but you can't do that. I mean, it's just not, you're preempted by state and federal law, so. This ordinance, or this set of ordinances was taken from two model ordinances, one that a group called Protect does, and that's all they do is work on telecommunications stuff for municipalities. And then the other was taken from a conglomeration, East Grand Rapids, and a group, it's the Grand Valley Metro Council, I think.
20-some municipalities in southwest Michigan created a model. Most of it adopted the model directly or slightly modified. We reviewed those two models, and then East Grand Rapids kind of as the base, so nothing was totally new and recreated.
Yeah, so I recreated the wheel, but it was kind of already created.
But is there a rule that says if there's a consumer's pole within so many feet of where they wanna put one, they have to put it on consumer's pole? What do you call it?
Co-location, so
Co-location.
you're required to, I mean, generally what these are is they want to co-locate on existing utility poles. Now, a lot of times, they'll replace the existing poles, so they have a new pole in the same place, so it's not.
Consumers just uses it?
Yeah, right, but they are supposed to co-locate to the extent possible on existing poles. If there's nothing around, then they will request a new pole.
I mean, if I were in an area where they wanted to drop a big pole with a great big box on my front yard, I mean, the residents are gonna be tickled with that, I don't think.
No, yeah, I mean, it's.
Would they?
It's in the right of way.
It's in the right of way and we have no control, that's the problem.
Right.
But you think there's as much regulation in those two ordinances as humanly possible?
As much as you can regulate through these ordinances. Right now, you've got nothing, so when these three that have come in, we kind of have to say, oh, you're granted, unless they're violating the statute, because we have nothing in the city that would say, you don't have to post a bond right now, you don't have to make sure the right of way is repaired if you damage it. There's no indemnification, which this ordinance provides that the carrier will indemnify the city for any damage caused, that kind of stuff you can regulate and put in there, so that's what we included.
Anything, Mark, your thoughts?
No, this is coming. We're gonna get lots more. That would be my inclination. I don't know that. I mean, we've asked them, for their plans, so to speak, and I can only imagine we're gonna have more. We do have a spacing piece to it. I don't think, maybe you mentioned that, Brad, so there's a little bit there, but, I think we need this. It's as much as we can do, based on their research, and, yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot of them in the city, Mayor.
These things can be what, the size of a refrigerator, someone was
I think
telling me?
the largest that qualifies is like a 6x6, 6 feet, 6 cubic feet or whatever, if that's the largest of a small cell. Generally, I mean, if you go, like I've seen them at the Khaki Golf Course, there's already a tower that's got a bunch of stuff on it that looks like small cell. And so it's generally, it's high enough up that it's not too intrusive, but if you're in a residential area, it probably is an eyesore,
See, Mayor, if they can install them on the Ferris campus, they can put them anywhere.
That's what I think, maybe. We have to do these separately because there are different types of ordinances, so we're gonna take the first one first, which is, looks the same to the second one to me, but first one, there it is. Do I hear a motion for approval of that ordinance?
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. Questions, comments?
Real quick,
Yes, please.
were there any comments at the public hearing? Thank you.
The problem is, all of us are kind of in a way ignorant, and we're getting bulldozed. Roll call, roll please. True.
Yes.
Epley?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Next is the other ordinance that deals with this Title 11. Is that what Title 9 sports or what?
Title 11 of your ordinance, of your code.
Oh. Do I
This
hear
is
a
the,
motion?
so the first one you just approved was the zoning ordinance, this is the police power.
So moved.
There's support.
Support.
Motion and support. Questions, comments? Hearing none. Tammy?
Epley?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Yes.
Unscheduled business for the group, please. Anything anybody wants me to bring to the Michigan Associated Mayors meeting Thursday?
5G tower.
This kind of stuff just really bugs me because we have absolutely no say. You can vote no and they're still gonna be able to do it, so it's,
Can I
You know,
make
please,
a
yes.
question? Where are we, in light of not having something and not being able to regulate the 3 that are already in process, where are we with the Airbnb?
Short-term rentals, my planning commission is looking at the ordinance on Wednesday for adoption, and then it will be before you after that.
Could you send that out by email to all of us so that we have more than a weekend to look at that? That's gonna be a hot ticket, I think Amanda's exactly right. We have one in our neighborhood and I watch it like a hawk now. And there hasn't been anybody in it for quite a long time, but it's a nice home, just sits there.
So catch me up, we have no regulations on them?
Correct.
No, Commissioner, there was a period of time in which the state legislature was going to preempt local control. That was the worry or the thought for a long time, and it's languished. And so I think we've abandoned that idea and now are gonna try to take on some version of local control. It's working through the planning commission right now, and then it would come to you for adoption.
We have 2 in town or 3 that you know of?
Or
4 now.
Well, we've always had, I shouldn't say always, since we've had 3, we've had 4, we just didn't really know about this one.
You just don't know. There could
I
be
mean,
more.
I don't think that there's any more, we've scoured the Airbnb and VBROs and those sites as much as we can. I think we've got them.
So please send us out what the plan commission's studying so we can at least look at it a little
Yeah,
ahead.
I'll
because-
send you the pre-data and where
Okay.
we kinda got everything and then what they've decided on.
Because we have to act on that within the next few meetings, I would think, eh?
I'm excited to act on that in the next few meetings.
There you go.
While we're on the subject of preemption, the state legislature this past week passed and the governor signed a bunch of bills that preempt local control for utility scale wind and solar.
So they can put those panels anywhere they want in town.
If they can find land for it. Now, you're probably not at risk because you don't have a lot of land. They want like
They want the airport. They wanna put them on the airport, and Mark told them not yet.
That's up to the city because they own the land, but if some landowner had the land and wanted to sell to a solar developer and the developer presented it.
The township will have no power.
Correct.
So that's a vested interest in us keeping ownership of the airport.
Yep.
Rosemary, that whole north side of your park, make it a wind farm or a solar farm. You'll get rich. You've got a lot of land there you could put those panels on. He's not saying
The electricity to all your tenants.
Yeah, give electricity to your tenants. Sell it to them. Anything else for the good of the group? We're adjourned. Mark, that was too long.
I'll try to shorten it up.